guys. That's pretty awesome. Somebody drew this.
That is pretty phenomenal.
So my next job is to get her a job at Marvel drawing other things. So if you can draw me, there you got anything going for you.
That's sure was the right guy, though.
How is everybody? Having a good con?
Yeah.
Good, cool. It's on you. I'm here to answer no questions.
All right. So, is the season going to delve a little deeper into the Darkhold premise, and are we going to see a little bit of Patriot, throwback?
Well,
what can we see?
I think you know me well enough to know that I'm going to answer. You have to wait and see. But I think, and in particular, the next two episodes are going to answer a lot of those questions in a pretty big way. So I think there's a lot of really good stuff, and I'm incredibly proud of our showrunners, Jeff Bell and Marissa Tancherone and Jed Whedon, who, along with an incredible writing staff, have crafted what is a pretty extraordinary season. It's one of the things that I don't know that they get enough credit for, but when we step off the curb at the first episode, it's not as though we're just sort of wandering around trying to figure out what's going to happen. We actually have to understand what's going to happen over 22 episodes, which I think is one of the things that makes S.H.I.E.L.D. so unique, is that it has a vision, it has a definite destination, and that our characters have an arc, even though we don't tell the actors where they're going. The idea of being able to tell a story over 22 hours it's pretty exciting. And having now done close to 70 of them, to keep it alive, to keep those characters interesting, to keep you engaged, to keep the audience engaged is a big challenge, but something that I think they've done extraordinarily well.
Is it challenging to, because you said 22 episodes, and where some like Netflix or other networks have 10, 12, is it hard sustaining that for 22 episodes a season?
Yes. Look, I've been on both sides. I've been a writer on shows, and I've been a producer of all various lengths. And absolutely, while the business for a long time was to be in 22, and in some cases 24. That model is an extremely challenging model in terms of a lot of things, not just cost, but just being able to sustain a story that goes along the way. I think one of the things that S.H.I.E.L.D. has done excellently is to break things sort of into story pods. And so I think some of you may remember last season, we had a lot of things that happened in the fall, and then we sort of put those down, and then we picked it up in the spring, and then some of those things do come back, but it's easier to break it into smaller pods and then go that way. Particularly when you're telling a story that's serialized. I think if we were a show that was one and done, it's a little easier to do. The NCISs of the world, those shows are challenging, but it's basically the crime of the week, and then you move on, and that's what happens.
It's early in the season, obviously, but are you getting the kind of response to adding Ghost Rider to the mix, or what are you hearing? What kind of feedback are you getting?
Well, what we're hearing is a lot of love, not just for Ghost Rider, but for Gabriel Luna, who plays Robbie Reyes. I think that's one of the things that's really important, is that it's not just about having a guy who's got an incredible special effect on his head, which, by the way, to be able to do sort of feature-level effects on a television budget is a testament to Chris Charmy, who runs our post-production facility, and Mark Kolpak, who's our visual effects supervisor. Those guys are just killing it, and that's amazing. But what Gabriel has been able to do with terrific material is to really infuse Robbie as a character that you care about, that you getting to know about, and that you should be rather conflicted about. It's one of the things that Marvel does very well, which is that we introduce people that live in the gray, and that this is a guy who's clearly going out committing murder, and yet at the end of the first episode you realize that he's got a younger brother who's in a wheelchair, and he cares for him, and he's an orphan himself, and so we try to build a story that sort of tugs you in both directions, which is, I shouldn't really like this guy, but I am really involved with this guy, and that's to me is a large testament to both the actor and to the writing.
You were talking about story plots. One of the simmering plots going on right now is the life model decoy plot.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that's going to get a lot of advancement in the beginning of the season, or is that something that's a little bit...
I'm glad you're watching the show. I'm really glad you're watching the show.
We tried.
That would be really good if you keep watching the show.
All right, thanks, guys.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.